Haya, wacha tuangalie gazeti. Gazeti ya Standard headlines inasemaje? Gazeti ya Standard headlines inasema Standard Rotich was fixed. Rotich amerudi and Rotich amekuja amesema was fixed. Aliwekelewa anasema was fixed. Ni Andrew Rotich amesema was fixed. Anasema sacrificial lamb for over 5 years. Unacheka Rotich bwana. Ya mpendi amani. Haya.
Exactly. It has been a catcher since independent government.
Yeah, amefunga jiji siku zote. Leo ndio sasa gazeti inasema he was whatever. And for over 5 years, former Treasury CS Andrew Rotich was one of the most sought after persons in government. Then came the big cloud over Aurora and Kimorer dams. Now he tells court he was made the sacrificial lamb in a project he had no procurement control over and that he had been sanctioned at cabinet level. All right. Naona pia Kemsa Shem as PP wrote away. Amesema PP is in a wrote away pale Kemsa. Kenya sends 5.9 billion equipment and supplies left to rot at agencies' warehouses as investigations drag on, exposing health workers on the string of coronavirus. Naona hapa pia hapo juu inasemaje? Inasema state workers to lose jobs in IMF deal, singing the tune. Thousands of parastatal workers could be rendered jobless as the government implements reforms to cut waste, which involve dissolution and mergers of hundreds of corporations to meet IMF's lending terms. All right, now to go at the whims of IMF. Na machingu bado hajafika. Entertainment on athletics inasema athletics race to invest in schools. Former model Kongong Kenya athletic big shots are investing in their answer field and track winnings in education sector, building schools within their communities. All right. Artists step up to harvest awards is battle royale in male video, female video, hip hop video and best group of the year categories in pulse music. Yeah, in mambo ya youth man. Naona gazeti ya People Daily inasema death threats cited in Kenyan shilling 7.6 billion KEMSA tenders. Wanasema kuna watu ambao walitishiwa maisha kwa mambo ya KEMSA scandal. John Manjari, naona Johnson Sakaja pale na Charles Juma. MPs told our suspended CEO Manjari hosted Sakaja in his office as he intimidated and coerced top managers to issue commitment letters for procurement of COVID-19 related items despite being warned of lack of funds. Wow. Haya, Biden jana amepigia simu anko Unye, amesema page 4 US leader offers support war against terror, climate change and refugee programs. Huyo ni Biden ameahidi anko. Anasema Biden calls Uhuru pledges support for Kenya's causes. Ruto to stop DCI, stop dangerous games. Ruto ameambia DCI kwa mambo ya post-election violence ya 2007-2008. Naona Doreen hapo pia. Doreen, HIV is a tiny virus given much power. Born with the virus 28 years ago, activists has never let that fact pull her down. She has lived a full life and is pushing for normalization of the discussion around it. I think ni mambo pia ya jana kulikuwa na World AIDS Day. So kuna Doreen Mora hapo. Na Doreen alisema muache kupima na macho. Wanaume muache kupima na macho. Haya, around 6,600 teachers to be recruited in COVID stimulus. Haya, turn page 2 here, the People Daily. TSC unveils plan to recruit over 6,000 intern teachers. Kuna mambo pia hapo ya nene. Kuna Biden pledges aid in Uhuru, Manduku, 6 more evidence in priority trial. Ruta rebukes Kinoti on probe of PEV cases. Busia can be reserved for the next 3 months. Ni mambo ya county government. BBI signatures 2 million ahead of Friday's deadline. Nasema ifika milioni ngapi? Milioni igere. Ruta hints at progress in consensus building talks. So these are things that you've talked about that you expect that these guys will continue pushing for a consensus. Kenya saying 7.6 billion Kemsa deal was a matter of life and death, I was told. Ni watu vile alisukuma deal pale Kemsa. Man links and ending host to Mavokoland. I think stories za gazeti zimeisha hapo kidogo. Pale Taifa leo inasema watermelon mpya. Ameweka William Ruto hapo, watermelon mpya. Sijui mzee ilikuwa gani. Alafu Dennis anasema murder threats in the COVID billions theft plot. Na pia up for grabs now 6,600 internship job 500. Hiyo ni mambo ambayo tumeona ya gazeti. Wacha tuende page 2 ya The Standard. State jobs cut looms in Yatani deal with IMF. We are now at the whims and the masses of IMF. Wamesema we cut down the parastatus. What are we going to do with that to survive? COVID vaccine, rumors drive amid trickle of pandemic facts. COVID essentials that KEMSA has just revealed. Now Kenya Sultan is stand on corona vaccine. alafu kuna wa sacrifice in the dam scandal what details court. Gideon intensifies BBI campaign for more signatures. Jana alilaunch pale Baringo. Ruta it's out at DCI boss over PAVE cases. All right, guys. What are some of the headlines that we've looked at? I would want you guys to start picking on them. Acha nianze na Mushendu alafu turudi kwa Gloria.
Well, najua the former CS Finance anasema ati alikuwa sacrificed. Is that news really, honestly? The practice of a certain family since 1963 to date, it is to use and dump. It is the same case that is facing William Ruto today. William Ruto has helped a certain cabal to get to the place they wanted to do. Now they can do away with him. So I keep on saying that once you're given a government job, do it diligently. Do it as it should be. Because tomorrow when the law come calling, it will not be that you give reasons you are sacrificed. You are the CS for finance. If you signed on money that was not well articulated, that is a cross that you need to carry as the person in charge of that docket. So therefore, I wish him well. But let him remember, those days he was, you remember I sat here and I told you that the merger between the Commercial Bank of Africa and the NIC was supposed to earn the taxman 1.6 billion as a certain levy that was levied on unregistered mergers because one of the merging bank is not registered in the Nairobi Stock Exchange. But this guy, to praise the head of state, did a gazette notice giving that merger a waiver and not paying the taxman the money that should come to help us. He has been on record trying to praise the president, and when the DCI came calling and the anti-corruption came calling, the president and the government just folded their hands. Now anasema there is a song tulikuwa tunaiba him, kila mtu ataubeba msalaba wake mwenyewe. I think the CS ought to carry his cross bila kelele, asipige kelele, abebe hiyo msalaba yake pole pole, na ifikishe akifungwa that is up to him. In this country, when you are given an opportunity to serve the public, please, especially the young people, when you're given an opportunity to serve this republic diligently. Do not be cowered by a certain person. But then the most unfortunate thing, as Gloria had said here, who are these young people who have been given these jobs? They are they are the very people who are
youth cartels.
Youth cartels, and they have been there for a while, these youth cartels. And we know why they've been given those positions. It has nothing to do with their skill set. It has nothing to do with their patriotism. It has everything to do
with their place.
Yes, and who they were trying to please and the rewards that they are being given. This is that thing of we reward everything but hard work and skills.
You know, I think the problem here is that the moment you are not given a job in this country on merit, we do not expect you to exercise diligence. Because if I gave you a job BITOK that is not based on merits, it means that I can control you to do whatever I want. In fact, I dare say most of the people being given senior jobs in this country are simply stooges. They do not think on their own. They are the case of you jump, fast jump, and then while you're doing it, ask how high you are. And I think that is a problem. When you look at the issue surrounding the former CS, it is because he did not diligently do his job. He did not, you remember we were part of those people who are questioning the Euroboard and what have you and all those things. Why, as the CS for finance, he okayed some of these things. Look at the tax regime in this country. it is not favoring the small business. It is not favoring the medium enterprise. It is only favoring, if there are tax reliefs and tax cuts, they are only going to the multinational major companies in this country. This is a tax regime that was oversighted by that particular minister. Why? Because he came up with regulations that only helped those in power to continue remaining in leadership, in terms of business, in terms of politics, in terms of everything, including the youths. Today, the current cabal is busy grooming their kids to become the cabal of tomorrow. And therefore,
a transition of cabals.
yeah, no. I told you, and I will say again, when we got the independence, my grandfather was fighting for independence in the forest. Well, the son of a paramount chief, the colonial chief, was being educated in the UK. So therefore, when we sent the white man home, the only capable replacement for that white man was that son of a colonial chief who was able to go to Lancaster, who was able to go to Germany, who was able to go to Russia and get study. It was the replacement that we did. And I say this, look at who became our president. We brought a president who had stayed over 10 years in Britain in the name of His Excellency Jomo Kenyatta. Look at the people who made up to be minister. Former chiefs, Kina Koinange, you know, look at where isn't Musalia Mudavadi a transmission of one cabal to the other? Isn't Raila Odinga a transmission of a former ruling cabal to another? Isn't Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta a transmission of a former cabal to the current cabal? We can name a whole list of those people who are today ruling this country. You look at the origin and where the lineage they are coming from, they are the people who benefited with the colonial government, and they continue to benefit today. So therefore, it is not Awada, as Gloria has said, that they are talking about changing the election date so that their plans to actually do a transmission of one cabal to the other is put to motion, and it is executed in a way that Kenyans may not understand. That is why I keep on saying, this particular document, and I want to be, the next time we sit here, we will talk about the schedule in this amendment bill that has redistributed the constituencies. And I will tell you how those constituencies are distributed in such a way that particularly 7 to 10 families that have been on the leadership in this country will benefit from the new constituencies.
Naona watu washaanza kuingia pale Karen, saying the governors, the MPs and governors have already started arriving. Ona Mandago wako pale, naona kaza kuona Kathundu MP, Moses Kuria, ona mama Northeastern, naona Aisha Juma baada ya kweli, nilikuwa nafikiria alikuwa ameweka Kisimbani. Naona Aisha Juma iko pale, naona Millicent Omanga, Emilio Manga, naona watu wamefika kabisa. Alright, I'm saying guys, we arrived. Nimeona Jackson Mandago is there. Alright, nimeona wabunge washaingia tayari Caleb Kositany na kuona watu kule Moses Kuria, Governor Nanoka, Governor Sang, naona tayari washafika. Alright, hiyo tutajua tutajua ni nini inaendelea pale.
Hata Baraka ni senator pale namuona ameingia.
Alright, Gloria, the question is, and
I wanted to point out back to Mushedu's conversation. I don't think it is an issue of so-and-so's daughter or so-and-so's relative, being passed on the mantle. The issue, as you said, is when you're getting these jobs, there has to be a sort of level of consideration of your skill set, so that you're actually getting a job in government because of your skill set. For instance, when you look at Raila Odinga's children, when you look at Rosemary, she's very bright. She's very, she in terms of policy and governance, she's on point. Actually, ameweza hata anaweza fika level ya kucampaign. You understand? To the point that hata huyo akisaidiwa kidogo baba yake aende asimame aseme simtapatia nani kura, it is not necessarily a bad thing because she's capable and she has the skill set. But when you look at what is happening within those government appointments and things like that, unapata mtu mwenye hata, like you said, has been in the diaspora 100 years. You understand? Doesn't know, can't even speak Swahili, can't even articulate the issues of the people. Alafu anakuja anaekwa na sasa yeye ndo amekuwa the chair or the CEO of a certain parastatal in this country. So what we are questioning is not, because you see, these people also have children. And these people, yes, their children are also aspiring to make something out of their lives and to be patriots of this country. We're even saying, even if Musalia Mudavadi's children come and they say them, they want to lead that National Cohesion Commission. Let us at least see that umeweza, uko na skills, you have something to offer. It is not just your name that you're offering. It is not just that your lineage and that dynasty that you are coming to bring at the table. So, because, you know, when you have that conversation and you say, oh, you know, these people are giving their children jobs, you cannot then separate the fact that William Ruto's daughter is sitting in an embassy somewhere. You see, because and if you say that once wewe ni mtoto wa hao watu wako in government, you cannot be in government, you're also being unfair. We understand that some of these children or some of these we'll call them inheritors of power. We understand that some of them are skilled. What we don't want to see is that you are actually getting an appointment based on your last name or based on the fact that you are so-and-so's PA for how long, and now we have given you this job. Because at the end of the day, we are going to actually hold you accountable for the responsibilities of that particular job that you're holding.
On the papers, also, Gloria, loans are catching up with us. IMF has given us very strict conditions. One of the conditions is that we need to dissolve some parastatals, and Kenyans, a lot of Kenyans are going to lose.
Absolutely.
Now, but Chinese bado hawajafika. Hiyo ni IMF peke yake.
You know, even before being told by IMF that we need to dissolve some parastatals, we have been singing this song. And I think this is why Punguza Mzigo came. You look, they collapsed brand Kenya and wakaishikanisha na ile sijui Kenya export nini kwa na jina refu. And the mandate really is
Kenya Export Promotion Council.
Yeah, jina refu nini wakajaribu, because they were also trying to keep the workers and, you know, give them some sort of responsibility. That was one way to do it. But look at what Uwezo Fund is. You have Uwezo Fund and then you have Youth Fund, and these two agencies are operating independently, yet when you look at their objective and what they're trying to achieve is the same. So I know that there's a bill that has been tabled. I think they've gone as far as gazetting it, where now they want to collapse Uwezo Fund and Youth Fund and I don't know which other funds and what wazishikanishe pamoja, and then they call it I don't know, they are going to find another catchy name. So yes, we need to go to tourism, by the way. You have the Kenya Tourism Board, then you have the Tourism Fund, then you have sasa kuna ile ingine walitengeneza
Magical Kenya.
Kuna ile ingine walitengeneza which has now the mandate of just bringing in conferences. It's called national, I don't know, which now their work is just to ensure that the conferences that are out there are coming to imagine there's just an agency, hiyo ndio kazi yao. And then when you look at under the Ministry of Tourism, the number of independent state agencies that are under that ministry is insane, and they are all doing the same thing. Tourism Fund and Kenya Tourism Board, at one point their mandates there's a lot of gray areas. And imagine those people, they have a board which of course every time they sit they get allowances. They have a CEO which of course comes with security, which of course comes with allowances. They have, each of them have like a whole organogram where they have all these people working. So we tuko flooded na mavitu nyingi zenye hata zi make sense. Where and actually where we should be paying attention now, according to the Big Four agenda which the president wants to use as his legacy, is on affordable healthcare and manufacturing. Hiyo ingine inakuanga ilikuwa affordable healthcare, manufacturing, housing and industrial. I mean, you see, on hata we are struggling. You see, we are struggling.
We can remember the 9 points agenda very easily, because that's what is marketed.
We are struggling because you know, you mulituanzia na vision 2030 mukatushtua huko sijui we are going, you dropped you said forget about that one. Then mukakuja hapa sijui Big Four agenda mmewacha mmeingia, mnatuchanganisha us who don't have PhDs. Just give us 3 points. And for me, I think if our focus is on this Big Four agenda, at least maybe that is where we should be seeing efforts in terms of the state agencies being empowered, in terms of autonomous institutions that are being given you know, resources to push that agenda. Lakini sasa tuko hapa BBI, tuko Big Four, tulikuwa na vision 2030.
Tumeshashuka. There's always something new.
There's always something new. We can't keep up. We can't keep up.
All right. Muchendu, please give your final remarks as you also give us your tackle of the day. Then we go back to Gloria.
I think it is important to actually deal with the parastatal menace.
By the way, even let's talk about the strike, the doctor strike that's coming up.
Yes.
The looming strike.
Yes.
Doctors have not been paid all this time. Those are frontline workers, and you're talking about money that is going elsewhere.
I think I keep on saying that we have a nation that has its priorities upside down. I was listening to the chairman and the secretary general of the Doctors Union, and they were lamenting that their issues needs to be taken care of now. Somebody somewhere telling us that we have enough money to do a referendum is all right, but doctors are in the front line to deal with the pandemic that has hit this republic. What is the government doing exactly to actually address the issues raised by the doctors, other than just talking about BBI? Other than, and you know, I'm also very disappointed with the mainstream media, because the issues of the doctors have not been given the airtime they deserve in the mainstream media, because we are in the midst of an international pandemic. We should not be talking about doctors not being paid. We should not be talking about doctors' allowance, promotions, and all sorts of things not being addressed. In fact, the doctors and the nurses and all the medics, they are the frontline workers today that are addressing a pandemic that has almost brought our economy to its knee. So therefore, this should be the first priority. As much as we are talking that we want to amend the document, we want to amend our constitution, which it is actually nothing wrong with it amending, but what is our priority as a public? What is our priority as Kenyans? The priority should be taking care of the first-line workers in this pandemic, and that is the doctors. So I think this government, even as you do other things, kindly consider that doctors are working to ensure that we deal with this pandemic. They are working to ensure that we actually save lives. So therefore, this government has a responsibility to take care of the needs and the issues raised up by the doctors. So I think there should be no shortcut. There should be no other way about it. It is about dealing with the issues of the doctors head on. And I think for me, this is a problem. And as I give my tackle today, our economy is actually experiencing a lot of problems today. Our economy is actually affected by how our Kenya shillings is performing against the biggest international currencies. And I have seen this morning we are trading the Kenya shillings at 113 shillings against the dollar. Yeah. It is at its worst today. It means that today our debt, the national, international, and internal and external debt is going to increase by a whopping 60 billion today, because the Kenya shillings has just gone down another extra shilling. So therefore, I think this government ought to tell us what is the recovery program they are going to use to ensure that our economy stays afloat. I am yet to hear what the Economic Council is doing about bringing back our economy to the thriving levels it was. I have not heard the Minister for Finance coming to tell us the trajectory they are going to take to revive our economy. The only thing I have seen him come and say is Kenyans should prepare for more taxes come January. I mean, the only thing this government is thinking is about tax. The other day we were talking about, I realized...
Employment tax.
Yes, I realized BITOK. The other day I was calculating the duty I was to pay for a car I want to import. And I realized that they have introduced something called Railway Development Tax. No, call it tax. And for a vehicle that will leverage at about 750,000.
What is a car doing on a railway?
No, see, ilisema import yote lazima, any car import lazima ipitie kwa reli, inakuja in a certain the railway to nowhere. Hapo ndipo utakuwa ukienda kuchukua gari yako. Can you imagine if you are paying a duty of 750,000? 15,750 shillings is going to the railway development levy. as if you ask somebody to construct a railway and then come ask you to pay for it. You are paying 15,000 shillings to a railway that is going to nowhere, up to date. Because if you ask me, that railway is still going to nowhere. But any person importing a vehicle in this country is paying that railway development tax. And therefore, this government must think outside the tax regime. Already, the tax regime in this country is one of the worst. And we continue unemployment tax. Mimi ni mfanyikazi wa serikali na gojewa nifanye hiyo employment tax.
Kwanza nangoje pesa yako.
It's crazy. So I want to ask this government that even as you think about the referendum, even as you think about building bridges initiative, even as you think about broadening the executive, even as you think about creating more seats for yourself, even as you think about flooding our parliament, it will be one of the most flooded parliament if this BBI was to become a reality. Even as you think all about all that, kindly consider that we, the young people who are in business, are suffering. We want to hear this government economic recovery program, how they intend to address the issues of those people who are in the medium level business and small businesses. This, Bitok, in the last 3 weeks, we have seen about 3 types of taxes being proposed by this government. And they are yet telling the youth that they will give them a 7-year tax holiday. That is a fallacy.
All right. Gloria.
You know, I happen to be part of the people who are affected by corona. By that I said that my father fell ill. And we were so terrified because he's 74. He has diabetes, you know, and we were so scared when we were told, Sasa, we have to go and seek medical attention. And that is when I actually realized. Unajua sasa kuna vitu zingine tunakujanga tunaongea, lakini sasa when you go there, pap, uko hapo kwa hospitali unaambiwa kuna kitanda, kuna hivi. Unaona reality kabisa. You are like, take all my money, just put my father somewhere. Unaambiwa hata if we take this money, itakunywa maji kwa sababu hakuna mali tunaweza kumweka. Or you're told, you know, this is the price of testing for COVID. And because saa zingine wakishuku, you know, for them they're also trying to protect themselves. So if they test and they're like, hey, hapana, huyu tumpatie another 2 days to test tena, you are going to pay that cost of that second test. So I think that was the rude awakening, that we can come to studio, we can go on TV, uko kwa mtandao, tuongee, tuchape mdomo. Lakini hiyo corona ikikuja kwa mlango yako, is when you'll understand that your government is nowhere to be seen. Yeah. And for me, that is the message I want to leave today. It's not about this conmanship of building bridges initiative. It is not about all this siasa and propaganda of nani alifanya nini. It's not even about Sakaja and his involvement with threatening people in office and whatever. I'm just saying, ile siku utakuwa hivi umepatikana na hiyo corona, ama your family member has actually been there with corona, and you are stranded and you are all wondering what to do, is when you will understand the role of government and why we are all alone. And in fact, I was saying, if I was not a Christian, if I did not really believe in the second coming of Jesus, mimi ningeomba tu kwa ule mtu tungekuwa tunaombea, tuseme, hawa waheshimiwa wote wapatikane na hiyo ugonjwa, so that they can actually realize, upatikane nayo ukiwa uko mashinani ya tumeenda campaign kudanganya watu about collecting signature, upatikane pap, hakuna ambulance, hakuna level 4, hakuna level 5, upeleke kwa ile clinic yenye sisi tunaendanga zile clinic za kijiji. Kwa hiyo clinic ukae uko hapo unasema mheshimiwa but they don't have oxygen. Kuna oxygen. Wanasema mheshimiwa but hawana hata hiyo test ya corona. Wakimaliza kusema mheshimiwa, wakulete Lee Funeral Home kutoka mashinani kwa hiyo sanduku, so that people can wake up. And instead of going to parliament and saying, hey, we want to be escorted by choppers, nini, hamtakuwa na hiyo time, kwa sababu suddenly it becomes real. Yeah. And it becomes that you are actually, instead of pushing for the things that we elected you to push, Kazi yenu hapo tu ni kutafuta sijui helicopter sijui nini. Mimi ningeomba sana, kama if I was not a Christian, ningeomba hawa waheshimiwa wote, from member of MCA, MP, Senate, wote wapatikane na hiyo corona, so that they can wake up and they can actually feel that I can't breathe. Wakiambia watu I can't breathe, ndio ile siku atapona. Mwenye atapona, akipona tu hivi pap, anakimbia pale kwa hiyo constituency yake, anasema acha nikuambie, me, I am going to make sure this CDF is going to buy oxygen for this level 4 or this level 5. Because sometimes I think that is the awakening that our leaders need. And if we don't stand up and realize that maybe these leaders ni kama, unajua wanasema wame-expire, wamepita hiyo shelf life. So that hata sisi tukikaa chini and we are losing our loved ones, or we are struggling, we can't breathe because we don't have oxygen, we don't have beds. Tukumbuke tuibebe tu hiyo kwa kichwa yetu, tuikumbuke tuipeleke kwa ballot 2022. Alafu ukumbuke huyu member of parliament ama huyu governor
ako jenga hospitali,
ati ako hapa ako busy ananiambia piga tu kura sijui tutakupea soda after wewe ukumbuke tu hiyo siku ulikuwa umeshikwa na hiyo corona mpaka umeshangaa ati you cannot breathe. Ukikumbuka hiyo kitu, I'm telling you, you are not going to vote for those people. You are going to vote for these young leaders. You're going to vote for some of us, we are even thinking maybe we'll vie. You are going to vote for people who understand that it is not, government is not about you as a person. Government, if when we are electing you, it is about you saying that I am wanasemanga God chosen leader. Mungu ameniweka hapa na Mungu haezi taka wewe unaua watu. Mungu anataka you save the lives of those people and you empower them. So for me, my message today is forget about this BBI. Forget about this political nonsense that is going on now. Because when you get sick and you get that COVID, what you will be thinking about is, how can I get out of this mess? And what you'll be thinking about is, unajua sasa hiyo huwezi fanya harambee. Utafanya harambee aje watu wali makazi zilisha nini? Hakuna harambee. Hapa utaanza kutuma ma message ati kwa WhatsApp group unatuingiza tio sijui my sister nini. Hakuna hizo message na hizo WhatsApp group mkianza. By the way, Muchendu, please share kwa mtandao a list of all the phone numbers of all these politicians. Ndio sisi tukipatikana na hiyo corona, msitusumbue hapa friends. Munaingiza huyo mtu kwa group, munampigia simu, you make it their problem, so that now these leaders can stand up and actually do something for this country.
Thank you so much guys for joining in. It was a pleasure to have you. It is actually always a pleasure to have you. For the tacklers who have been in, asante sana kuwaona. Taniangalia comments hapa kidogo kabla hatujafunga kioski. Let's just like see Laporil joins about listening clear and open minds. BBI has come and complicate and bring confusion in this country. Punguza Mzigo initiative is the way to go. Naona nani hapa, William Mwangi, very sober panelist. That's what we call true patriotism, not love attached to selfish interest. Ernest Kiblagat, the BBI is about next generation. Max, I think I wrote this. Milton Oguti, I will do. I think I read for Milton. Emmanuel Oranja. Let me see. Comment notes. Abbas Martin, kindly address the Kenyans, not the chiefs. And I think I also read that. Kuna comments hapa siko zimeangalia. Arun Derito says we want such over panelists, not these guys like Mishungu. Mishungu in absentia. Other say positive vibes jana parliament chayo here. Abbas Martin, the media should also stop making this assumption that the so-called BBI is about the rivalry between Ruto, Uhuru and Raila. It's about the wrongs and the violations of the constitution and those leaders who are selfish. Abbas Nyugana says they want to postpone elections, ready to concentrate on fighting corona. Ernest Kiroga says, Bitok, with your panelists elaborate an election day. It's possible to do referendum 21 and have a general election in 22, bearing in mind there are more creation of constituencies in this rubbish document. I think it will be impossible. Max Mara says, is Reggae Itasimama? Mark this post. Kimutaya thought the idea of the BBI is kind of a fake idea of telling people they have better control of their lives, yet their needs are overlooked and common sense solutions are being dismissed. Tom Jaffe, the lady, is making a lot of sense. Emmanuel Menge, we need to tie off and send the science of independence cabinet home. This masking boy, I'm following from Malindi, Kenya. I rejected. These people are taking us for a joke. I'm watching from Mongwaya, place in Michezo, Grave Diggers. All right, Kaona Mushendu, naona umepotea pia. Msema wewe ulikuwa umenipa clarification ya nini ya the chairmanship ya parliament. BBI is a different game. This is about destiny. Forget 2022. This has to die. Isaac Thirop says, I like the panelists. They are making sense. We really don't need these amendments at this moment. Leaders really don't feel how it's hard for Kenyans to put food on the table. Let's reject the BBI. Sammy K says, BBI is a big no. Aska Mebur says Gerald Bitok can forgive Martha Karua. People evolve, all right. Wanaina, someone said this time around, please allow me to use my mind for a while. God following anyone is monster called BBI is for them, not for Wanjiku. What is there for is a sweetener and you kubali. After that, we are the ones to fund this government. Vincent Waitaka says we don't need this pill. We are not sick. They shall serve them and our traditional concussions. They better stay near the bushes. So you could read the comments. I also conducted a poll. Kulikuwa na mali, should the government force civil servants and Kenyans to give their BBI signatures? 98% wanasema no, alafu 2% wanasema yes. Have you given your BBI signature? 94% say no, 6% wanasema wamepeana signature ya BBI. Thank you guys. This is a tackle and the tackle ends now. See you again tomorrow. Bye bye and take care. Tutaonana kesho diaspora edition. Watu wa diaspora wako tayari pale kuja kuwazungumzia mambo ya diaspora. Kesho tuonane pale. This is a tackle and the tackle ends now. Bye bye and see you.